In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to add a text stroke animation using GSAP on Elementor. So this is what we're going to be creating. So as you can see, whenever I scroll down, our text stroke animation begins. And let's say I scroll out of view and then I scroll back up, you will see that our text stroke animation will begin again. And we can actually have multiple text stroke elements. So if I continue to scroll, I actually have another one here called Elementor. And then if I scroll out of view and I scroll back down, you notice that it will load again. Now that's what we're going to be creating here. If you do end up enjoying the video, make sure to like it for the YouTube algorithm. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Now, if you do want to improve your Elementor skills, I do have some courses down in the description that you guys can check out. Now, without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this video. So let's begin. So open up your Elementor editor. Now I'm just using an Elementor template here. And I'm going to add my text stroke animation right at the bottom. So from here, go into your elements and then search for HTML and go ahead and drag this wherever you want your text stroke animation. I'm going to add it right above this text here because I feel like that's a great spot. And then go ahead and paste your HTML that I have provided in the description. Just click the link and paste that right in here. So once you've added your HTML, go into advanced and then go into custom CSS and then go ahead and paste the CSS that I've provided in the description. And there we go. So we can't see the text stroke yet. So what we need to do is go back into your content here and then we just need to remove begin active.begin for now. So we're going to remove this and we're going to add it back in. It's just so then we can see our text stroke. So as you can tell, once I remove that, now you can see our text stroke here. Now we'll add it back in again, don't worry. It's just so then we can stylize this now. So the first thing that we need to do is head back to advanced on our HTML element and then go into positioning and then set the width to inline. Now the reason why we have to do this is just so then we can go ahead and position this either to the left, to the middle, or to the end here. So that's the reason why we're doing it. By default, I'm sure this is going to be set to the edge here, to the left side. So, but I'm going to set mine to the center. Now you can obviously set it wherever you would like. Now currently, this is the only way to do it, just to position it. Just because using the HTML, it's a little bit tricky here when it comes to positioning this to the left and right. So that's why we're just going to be doing this method here to position our text stroke. So once you have that done there, let me go ahead and show you how we can make some adjustments to this because it might not be that mobile friendly for you. So you might have some issues just in case you want to go ahead and change the text, right? So basically, in order for us to change the text, instead of WordPress, maybe we want to add something else, right? Let's say I want to go ahead and add Elementor instead. Now, this fits perfectly, but the thing is though, we have this spacing here. Let me try to do something a lot smaller, even bigger. You know what? We'll start with something smaller and then we'll do something bigger so I can show you how you guys can adjust this. So let's go ahead and just do Word for now as a test. So as you can see, this is not centered yet. So go into advanced, go into your style. And then what we need to do is on the desktop version, this is a desktop version, this is a tablet version, and this is a mobile version. So we need to go ahead and just set our width, and it's pretty simple. So that looks to be about 200 for the width. So we can add a little more, maybe 250, just so then we can get it at least perfect. Maybe 40. All right, so 40 looks good. So I'm gonna leave that as is for right now. But if we go into the tablet version, we'll notice that we have that big spacing there. So now we need to go ahead and adjust this as well. So currently, let's see, we go to the width here. So we go to the width here and then we can make that a little bit smaller. So we had that at 200 earlier. So it's probably going to be about the same, 200 and maybe it's 150, 170. There we go. So we can do 170. And then once we move down to mobile here, we can adjust that width as well. So let's adjust this here. Let's do about 100, 120, 110, 115. We'll leave it at 115 for now. There we go. So that's perfect. So that's how we can go ahead and center that. Now let's say you want to go ahead and change the font and also change the font size. So basically it's actually right up here. This is where we can do it. Now I did also add it down here just in case. So we can go ahead and just change the name of the font here for font family. Let's say we wanted to do Arial instead. Oops. So we can change it to maybe Arial, Roboto, as you can see there. But I think you guys kind of get the gist of it. As you can tell, this one just kind of went to default after that. But I currently have it set to Sparn, so we're just gonna leave it at Sparn for now. So if we wanted to increase the font size on this, we can just adjust it here. So I currently have it set to 5 rem, but if we wanted to make it smaller, you can do that as well. Set it to 3 rem, and then after that, just go ahead and adjust the width, just like how we did earlier, just so then you can get that centered. But I'm gonna leave it where it's at 5 rem. There we go, and then we can adjust how bold it is. You can adjust the weight on this here. So obviously I could set it at 300, but you can't really see the stroke that well. That's why I just set it up to bold instead. You can have a word break, but that's not too important. The color stroke, this part's pretty useful here. You're probably gonna want to change that if you have a different theme here. If you want to make, maybe you have a black background and you want to change it to white, then you can do that as well. So I'm gonna set it back to black, and then the text stroke width. So maybe we can set it to 5 pixels, depending on how thick you want to go ahead and set that. And then the line height, it's not really too important because we don't really have other words on here. And it's the same method when it comes to changing the rest here. But if you are changing these fonts, what I would recommend doing is just removing this part, removing the font, at least the font family as well, just so then that's already set by default and you don't got to go down and change it to every single one. So I might just remove that there so you don't have to do that. But I'd probably leave it just in case. And then maybe if you wanted to remove the font weight, if you end up changing that for a different width, for a different screen size, then that really just depends. So the other portion that I wanted to show you, I think I've gone through everything there. So let's go into content. So let's say you wanted to add more text to this, maybe one under it. What I would do is just copy this the one that we have right here, the T-span, and then paste it right under it. Now currently we can't see it. It's just because we got to adjust the height to this. So if I type in Elementor, and then I go to my advanced and I go to over here, let's see here. We go into the height and we adjust the height. Let me just do 500 just so then you can see it, right? But then we have this issue where it's not going to be completely centered. So then you just have to start adjusting. Maybe we can do 300 instead. Pixels here. And then you have to start adjusting this part as well so you can go ahead and see it. And it is kind of more of a hassle. So what I would recommend you doing is actually this instead. So I'm going to remove this one here. So what I would do is actually copy this. Or you know what? Just go ahead and duplicate this one. Let's duplicate it. And then let's just type in Elementor. Now it doesn't fit properly, but we can adjust that. But before we do that, if we start to adjust this custom CSS, it will most likely also affect this one. So what I would suggest you do is right here where it says loader, maybe put loader 1. And then what we'll do is we'll add dot loader 1 to this, and then also basically add it to pretty much all of them, because you are going to be you may be adjusting those on mobile as well. So there we go. So now if we make these adjustments to here and we go into the width here, we maybe set it to about 400 so we can get it to fit. There we go. So it's not going to affect this one. Because obviously if let's say I remove this, you notice how now it's going to affect both. So that's why I would suggest you do that. And then now we can set that to about 450. That's fine. So that fits together perfectly there. So that works great. So let me go ahead and duplicate this one so I can show you that it will work basically, that the transition effect will work pretty much with both. So you can actually have multiple text strokes on here, and you'll still have that same scroll animation whenever someone scrolls down to that specific section. So I'm going to remove this one here. I think now you have an idea of how you can go ahead and adjust this. It's basically the same way if you make this a lot longer, just like how I've showed you here, you can just adjust the width. So now we're going to get to the interesting part here. And you know what? Let me grab this Elementor one and add this one to the bottom maybe. And then I'm actually going to call this WordPress again, and I'm just going to adjust the width real quick. And I'm probably going to have to fix that for the mobile version as well, just like how I showed you earlier. But you know what? Let me just adjust this here, and then I'll worry about the mobile version later on anyway. It's not really that important because I feel like you guys kind of have an idea on that already. Oops. There we go. So just want to make sure that it's not cut off either. Looks like it's a little bit cut off. So let's do just at 71. So it's not cut off there. All right, so that's not cut off anymore. So that's perfect. So I almost forgot one of the most important things that we need to do. Without this, it's not going to work. We need to actually set our class to one of the sections. Basically, wherever you want your text stroke animation to start, like which section you want it to start, that's where you're going to add your class to. So we actually need to add our class to this section here. And it's pretty much just called load container. So go ahead and type in load dash container. And whenever the person scrolls down to that specific section of load container, that's going to trigger this animation to start for your text stroke. So that's why that's super important. So now let's take a look at this. Now it's not going to work exactly how we want it to yet because we haven't added our GSAP to it yet, but it will load in obviously. But if I scroll down to this one, you notice that it's already loaded, so it won't do that effect. So what we need to do is go back into your HTML element there, and we just need to add that code that we removed earlier, and I'm going to paste it right in here. Now it's going to disappear for now. That's fine. And let me paste that right in. There we go. I'm going to click update. So it's not going to do anything yet. We just need to add our GSAP. So let's go into Elementor, go into custom code, and then go ahead and click on add new. And we're going to call this GSAP text stroke. And the location is going to be set to the bottom, always the bottom end. And let me grab my script here. So go ahead and just paste the script. I'll go over this a bit more here, but let me just go ahead and add it to the right page and show you guys that it's working here. So we're going to do singular, and we're going to do pages, and we're going to search for that page. I think I called it text stroke animation. Alrighty. There we go. And then now if I go ahead and save this, or sorry, reload it. All right, so as you can tell, it's working. But also if I go ahead and leave and scroll down further, and then I come back, you notice that it will reload again. And then if I scroll down to the next one under here, you notice that it will start to load as well. And if I go ahead and leave this one and then come back down, it will go ahead and load as soon as I drop down to that section. And I can just do it so many times. You see that it will always keep refreshing whenever I scroll back down or I scroll up. Doesn't really matter. It will always do that whenever this is in view. So let's say we only want this to load in once. Go back to your code, and basically you see how I have this one commented out. We're going to uncomment it, and now it's set to once true, and we can click update. So now if I scroll down, notice that it's going to load in here. And if I go back up, it's it's only gonna work once. And that's just in case you want it like that, then that's gonna work for you. So that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys do have any questions on this, just feel free to comment down below and I'll definitely try to help you guys out. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any of my videos. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like it for the YouTube algorithm. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next video.